You are looking live at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which is up 100 points today, or 0.56%, and closed at 18,074. You can see that it traded above that, most recent high of 18,017. I think that's a nice little milestone, but it needs to trade. Once it's achieve that obstacle, it needs to take out a couple more of these. You can see there's a gap here in the chart. There's one right here. What is this? No, 17. No. Where am I? Right here. 18,386. So that would be your next level that, you'd want to see it fill that gap there at 386. It's not too far away here. 300 points roughly, 312 points, and then take out the old high, which, I'm always open-minded and flexible and think that, that's a possibility. Sure, it could pull back to its 50, but this looks real good. Just digesting this nice little gain here. It's going sideways, and the Nasdaq looks pretty good. 3.7% above its 50 and 2.7% above the 21. So it was definitely the leading index today. And let's go over to the SPY. We'll just go to the SPY here, which has been, trading near all-time highs. The SPY is now, 0.3% off of its high. You can see made a high last week of 572 on the SPY. 571.36 was the high this week. So just bumping its head on that ceiling here. And the other index that I want to take a look at is the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which you can see traded at and closed at a new high today. If you want to go to the ETF, you just go to DIA, and you can see there. And the weekly, it's a 0.2% off its high, so it didn't close right at the high today. The high was 422, close at 422.65, close at 422.13. So just a tick below on the Dow. And IWM, I guess we'll take a look at this one. Just a little pullback. It's funny because when the Federal Reserve cut interest rates, there was a thesis that, well, there's certain stocks that are going to do well, the home builders, the biotech stocks, and the small cap and mid cap, and it really hasn't turned out that way. Not yet so far, though. We'll just give it, play it one day at a time. But I'm going to get to that later. Anyway, enough with the indexes. I'm going to go to the stocks. Apple, once again, a lot of consternation, a lot of anxiety, a lot of indecision here about how their new phone is going to be received. And something tells me Apple's just going to keep plugging along and their sales will be fine. But as long as it's above the, the 10 and the 21, the 10 and the 21 traded through the 50, that looks pretty good to me. Microsoft, take a look at this one. These top three stocks in the market, Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA. That actually looks pretty good right here. Little bull wedge pattern as it pulls back to its 21. Let that 21 catch up. Maybe we get a bounce in Microsoft. Tesla is looking quite strong here. Just forming the right side of the space. Looks pretty symmetrical, pretty tight trading. Tesla looks really nice right here. I'm not going to say anything more about Tesla. We have it at mcstockcharts.com. Meta is another one here that broke out of this base, traded higher, now pulled back just ever so slightly today. That one looks good. Amazon, it's been forming this right side of the base. This one looks good too. See the moving averages, traded through the 10 and the 21, traded through the 50. And that one looks pretty good too. And then we'll go to NVIDIA. Nice bounce today. I guess there was a report that Jensen is through selling for now. So it traded above that 120 level. So we see if it can stay above that level. So, yeah, just waiting to see if NVIDIA can show some strength through there and take out that old 131 here. So, yeah, Jensen's through selling for now. Anyway, I'm going to move on to some of the Semiconductor names, it's kind of hit and miss here. This is Broadcom. I believe I put this one on the ready list this morning. Yeah, this one's been on all week. It traded, above its downtrend line here, so I kind of like this action here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the last, what, 4 sessions, it's trending higher with, decent volume on Friday, options expiration. So Broadcom looks pretty good. Obviously it has that standard buy point at like 185, whatever. PI, Impinj, this one broke out and is trending higher. So there's some semiconductor names doing okay. This is AMD. Kind of like this setup here. If it can get through that old 162 area and above the 200, watch for a little move here in AMD above that level there of 162.04. And then let me see, ARM. I like the ARM setup as well. You can see very distinct, cup with handle pattern here, just kind of handling out. So beware of the ARM. I know people say it's expensive, it costs an arm and a leg, but we just, follow price. And if people want to pay for this and drive it higher, I'm all for that. And the last one in the I just wanted to cover this because some people were asking me about it. I guess some guy named Alex who covers NVIDIA, well-respected YouTuber, put a video out about Poet, and then they did sign that deal with Mitsubishi. So that, I got to tell you, that's not Uncle Alex or Aunt Sally buying this stock. That's a lot of volume here the last couple of sessions. But anyway, I normally don't cover $4 stocks, but it's got what, a lot of volume coming in here. And I don't think this is a Wall Street bets or a Reddit play, but yeah, 16 million shares traded. So somebody's liking Poet Technologies. Anyway, since I'm showing the semiconductors, the SMH just forming a base here. And it looks a little bit like the Nasdaq. All right, I'm going to move on because the story of the day was that China, the stimulus from China was really phenomenal, outstanding, over the top of what they're doing there. It's going to help long term. It's going to help, and it's also going to help the stock market. People are basically forced to buy stocks. It's going to help their housing market, their commercial, real estate. Man, they pulled out a slew of economic tools here to stimulate their economy, and looks like they're serious about it. So the stocks responded, and this is BABA, obviously up, nearly 8%. JD, another stock up nearly 14%. Real strong move. I had FUTU is another one that had a nice little move there. And anyway, I don't really trade China stocks. Not I've done okay with them in the past. I've also been burned just like any other stock. But I have a lot of stocks at home. I got 10,000 stocks to choose from, and I'm a little more familiar with them, and I just can't really. It's hard to read their balance sheets and what's really going on there. So I'd rather stick with something more familiar like an NVIDIA or a Tesla, which also has a lot of exposure to China. So anyway, just had to acknowledge the strength there, and the stimulus from China is huge and it's long term, and that's a real bullish sign for our stock market because we do a lot of business with China. And I'm going to move on to the software names. This is Spotify. I believe I had this one on our right. I don't have it. I went to the dentist today and I got a shot, so I'm having a little tongue tied. I'll make this one short today. But anyway, yeah, Spotify is on our ready list. Anyway, broke out above that level last couple sessions, and you could see big volume coming in for Spotify in the move. So that move's probably not over. Another one that's made a strong move recently is Duolingo, another software name. Yeah, look at that total strength. If I was holding it when they start doing this, because I don't want them to back up to the 10, even if it pulls back to 250 or whatever, 255, I would be trimming some there. Just like, anyway, okay. You can do whatever you want. That's what I would do. I just get nervous. Like App Lovin', I do own this one. It's making me nervous because it's just going up every day. But this one has the look of you know, a leader, you want to own leaders in software. This is one of your leaders in software. It broke out from that 91 level, probably going to go a lot higher. And when you start looking, you know, to trim a little, you should look at these weekly charts. And this one's doing nothing wrong. Big volume coming in. Look at these big blue skyscrapers, man. Wall Street loves app loving. Anyway, SMAR, another computer software stock, and this one has a distinct pattern. It was up what, 6 something percent today. But if you just look at this, you know, just take a step back and look at how it continues to do these sharp little pullbacks. And then they bounce every time, right? Bounce, 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 and then it has a pullback to the 50, bounce, pullback, bounce, pullback, and today it bounced. This time it bounced off the 21, where before it had been bouncing off of, you know, like the 50. So anyway, just pointing that out on Smartsheet. INTA, I think I had this on the ready list last week. Yeah, this one's just making new highs. That looks fantastic. CETA, another one. You know, this is just, you know, over 30 now, closed over 30, all-time highs. And you just look at the blue bars. Let's see what this looks like on the weekly. Yeah, look at these. Somebody's buying this stock. You know, this is like app loving. My goodness. Just a wall of blue. All right. The next one is, well, I'm going to get out of software. Oh, yeah. Somebody asked me to look at On Holdings. And, you know, when, like I just mentioned earlier about owning leaders in, you want to own leaders in, you know, semiconductors, you want to own leaders in software, and you also want to own leaders in the SHOO group. I'm having trouble talking today. And On Holdings is one. You can see this one pull back here to the 21 and then found support and bounce. That's what you want to see. Now it's forming this little shelf type pattern above 50. So that looks super healthy. The other one is Boot. And this one's super strong above the 10. And I just want to put these side by side because I think, you know, these are the two leaders. Boots in the apparel group because they sell a lot of, you know, they don't just sell boots, they sell in shoes. They sell a lot of apparel. So they're in different groups. Boot Barn's definitely the leader of the retail apparel. You know, Abercrombie and Fitch was for a while, but this one petered out. Still, look at that performance, but has pulled back quite a bit. So you want to own leaders in group, and leaders change. So you got to continually watch for these stocks. And one stock that I'm watching is CROX. You know, it's been a leader in the past. It's not performing like you know, On Holdings now, but they signed Sydney Sweeney to Hey Dude, and this thing's got 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it's hit the downtrend line at 4 different points or so, and it traded above it today. I'm definitely interested in CROX, and might nibble at it a little bit around that 147 level. And if it performs well, I'll make a full position out of it. But I kind of like this. I kind of like this, and yeah, I think Sydney Sweeney's going to do well at for Hey Dude. And if they get Hey Dude rolling, the Crocs brand's on fire. They're going to have something here. Right now, it's trading at like, you know, 2 times current sales at 8.6 billion. They got over 4 billion in sales, 4.5 billion in sales. So it's not an expensive stock. And if they get rolling in earnings and sales growth, this is something to watch the next few quarters, I think. All right, and the last one I wanted to mention in the SHOO group is SHOO. Steve Madden, and this one just broke out of this little box here. And to me, this one looks pretty good as well. Just pushing away. I should have put this on this weekend and I didn't, but had a nice day today and still actionable in my humble or maybe not so humble opinion. That's Steve Madden at what is that, 40, 47.24. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. All right, let's move out of this group because I want to go to a different retail group, and that's like the Shark Ninja. You talk about leaders in groups. This is your leader in your household appliance. Just surfing its 10 EMA, it looks phenomenal. 106 now, so it just continues to make new high, just gradually grinding higher. This is Hamilton Beach Brands, very thinly traded, you could see here. But you know, price pays, and this is less than a $500 million company. And you know, it's trading higher. You can see the breakout from that base and now trading higher. Earnings line trading higher, and you know, I like stocks that go higher, and it's made a new high today. So new highs in our indexes and new highs in stocks, can't be more bullish than that. So I gravitate towards those names. Speaking of which, SE, which is an internet retail stock from Singapore, just making new highs. Once again, breaking out of this, I guess you'd call it a little shelf or little box here last week, and continue following through today. So I'm going to move on here to the retail restaurant names, and this is kind of hit and miss. Like I said, I believe you need to own the leaders. I believe CAVA is one of the leaders in this group. Yeah, it was down the last couple of days, but for me, the key of CAVA was being able to hold the 110, pull back to moving average, finding support, buyers come in, and now, it's just grinding higher. Yeah, pull back the last 2 days. Maybe it'll come down to the 10. But I think that's still pretty healthy right there, and to give people an opportunity to get in. That 128.18 is definitely an area of interest for me. And that 10 EMA is going up about what? Yeah, 60 cents a day. So tomorrow it'll be about, I don't know, what is it today? 124.50 cents, over 125. So I'm looking for a little pullback and a bounce on the same day in CAVA. So Wing, I had Wing on the ready list as well. And this one's just bumping up now against that old 431. Had a good discussion with a couple traders today that they're expecting what I'm expecting. This run is a 19% move, 362 to that 431. I expect some profit taking it to do this a little bit, allow this 21 to catch up before it takes off. But you never know. This thing could just go right through, straight to 500. I know it's an expensive stock, but like I say, price pays. You can see this base here consolidated in that stage 2 base. It looks phenomenal with that standard buy point there at 431. What other ones? Oh, Sweet Greens, another one this looks good to me as well. I don't have it on our list, but yeah, nice little box here, nice little sideways action, tightening up. Sweet Greens could appear on our list pretty soon. And then Texas Roadhouse, another one of these. You know what? I don't think I've been to any one of these. Nope, I haven't. I haven't been to any one of these restaurants. But this one looks good here, 177.72, straight up from the bottom once again. So probably see some profit taking. You never know, but that standard buy point is 177.72. So it's trading right near there. Texas Roadhouse, I believe, I don't want to talk out of turn here, but I believe it traded above that today. Yeah, 178.54, traded at a new high, then pulled back a little bit. It closed at 22% of the daily range. So definitely watching Texas Roadhouse. I'm gonna get out of the food group. Oops, I lied. Some of these food stocks are just doing really well. Sprouts Farmers Market, this one we did have on the ready list there at 103. I think that's a nice little shelf, enough of a consolidation there. Sprouts looks good. Walmart, I mean, when you have Walmart and the Dow, making these highs, this looks fantastic. Kroger is another stock setting up here within the base. 55.80 looks like an early entry. And then VITL, this is egg. This is the Eggman, traded through its moving averages. Looks to me like a bottom. I talk about this a lot when trying to identify a bottom. You see it, it comes down and it makes a low, then it tries to rally up, and then it retests the low, comes back down to retest or undercuts the low, and then that's your bottom, and then now it rallies back through. So definitely an area of interest for me would be the high of today, which would be 36.27, so not too far away from that. Anyway, enough with the food, enough with the restaurants, enough with the retail. I'm going to move on to that power group. When Constellation announced the deal with Microsoft, it really set off some heavy buying in the stock. This was Friday and Monday, and today it pulled back ever so slightly, 1.4%. But these stocks are strong. VST, another one, just I would expect it to, trade around that 107.24, but it looks like it wants higher prices. So you can't argue with the market, and you can't argue with stocks. They're going to do what they're going to do, and don't be bullheaded about it. This is GEV. I thought this one would pull back, but it's not. It just wants higher prices. So if you own this one, you just gotta let it ride. POWL, another one that's a little closer to a buy point, but it's just taken off and it's not gonna form a handle or anything. It's just, I don't know how many days in a row that's up. You know, I ran out of fingers. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days in a row. With, you know, many of the days above average volume there. So that one looks really good. And then any other ones? Oh yeah, the one that I Quant Services, this one looks fantastic. Once again, I would expect it, you know, around 290 to hover, have some resistance at 300, but that one looks pretty good as well. All right, I got to go to the pollution control stock, and I'm not going to go to waste management. I'm going to go to ARIS Water Solutions, and this one broke out today. 6.4% of this nice little base here, this nice little consolidation pattern. Let's see what that looks like on the weekly, because it looks like a base on base. Yeah, this base here, and away we go. So ARIS looks good. Oh, Clean Harbors, another one in this group. Yeah, that looks pretty good at 247. I believe that's, you know, an area of interest. 247 there, very nice. And then the last one is TTEK and pollution controls. It's kind of the same thing, 46.99, just call 47 there. And it traded above that today and then pulled back. So 47, that looks good as well. That's what you call a little shelf pattern or flat base. That one looks pretty good. All right, moving on. I've got to go to the security stocks, the YOU, safety and security. These stocks are on fire. YOU, little pullback, didn't even come back to the 10. You know, you see these sharp little pullbacks in this thing ever since it broke out. Doesn't take long, 3 or 4 sessions, then it shoots higher. And it did that today. AXON is another one in this group. Pretty strong group here. And this is surfing its moving averages. And the last one I wanted to show is BYRN. This is BYRN Technologies making new highs after this breakout here. So that one looks good as well. I'm not going to leave without talking about oil and gas today. This is one gas, 71.78 was the standard buy point there, and it just broke out. Now it's a 74 and waiting for those moving averages to catch up. That one looks pretty good. OKE, 10, and this one's just surfing its moving averages, looks pretty good as well. And then LB, this is the IPO I've been talking about recently and finally popped today, up what, 3.5%, not a bad move. Closed near the lows of its daily range, which I don't like, but still up 3.4%. Yeah, closing the lower quartile. So we'll see if it can take out that old high there, which it made today is 45.96. So Land Bridge making new highs. All right, I got to talk a little bit about the drug stocks. I don't really want to, because they're not doing much. I talked about how the with the lower interest rates, home builders and drug stocks are supposed to do well, and they're not. This is NovoNorris, and you can see that there's just a lot of weakness here. Institutions are a little hesitant to buy this because it's involved with the, you know, the government and the FTC not approving the Catalent deal yet and asking for more information. The CEO was in front of the Senate committee hearings today and spoke to Bernie Sanders. And, you know, Bernie just wants to be able to say he lowered drug prices, so Novo will owe him a little, and Bernie can say, I lowered drug prices for the American people. And then they'll get their Catalent deal done, and they'll, you know, pay some politicians, and then all will be good. I'm still watching this. Would not be surprised if it retested that, you know, 118. Technically, I would expect it to retest here and then, you know, rally back through. This is going to take time. All right, Lilly, much stronger, much better position. It's above its moving averages, but just marking time. And the last one I wanted to show today was CORT, biotech stock, breaking out of a base and making new highs. This one looks phenomenal. So Corcept Therapeutics. And anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching, except for I live. In honor of the great Steve Jobs, I have a couple more things. One is KB Homes reporting earnings tonight, down 6%. I'll have more in the morning. I was watching this because it was getting near that buy point of 88.31 and wondering like, hey, maybe they have a good report and it blasts off and it goes up 15% tomorrow, but looks like it's going to pull back maybe to the 50 tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. Can never trust after hours action. And I just got home. I don't know what the heck they said on the report, but I'll have more in the morning. And also, I just wanted to point out, it does my heart good to see some of these old stocks that my dad bought me IBM Big Blue in the 60s before the Nasdaq was even created. The Nasdaq, I think it was created in February of 1971. My dad bought this for me in like 66 or 67 and tried to get me involved and excited about the stock market. He certainly did. And IBM was the first stock that he bought for me, and he left it to my mom, who passed away last year, and she bequeathed it to my sister, who's fortunate to have it. But I don't ask her if she sold it yet. But anyway, it's split along, many times, obviously, since the 60s. But anyway, my mom knew that I didn't need it, so she gave it to somebody who was a little more in need of me. But definitely love having IBM in the family and love seeing it make new highs. GE is another one. These are the old powerhouses from the 60s. So I'm just kind of an old fart reminiscing, and I like seeing these stocks make new highs. GE is one, and McDonald's didn't make a new high, but man, this is forming a nice space here and blasting off. Maybe it did make a new high today. But anyway, McDonald's has been a great stock for a long, long time. Just a tick below new highs. And this is another one that, McDonald's, as a kid, you go to McDonald's after Little League games or whatever. Great stock for a long, long time. It was a monster stock back in I want to say the early 70s. I want to say they IPO'd. And if I go back to, I'm just fooling around now here. When did it's not going to do it for me anyway. All right, doesn't matter. McDonald's been a good stock for a long time. I think it IPO'd in 70 and was a monster stock back then. And then the last one has to be Caterpillar, another one of these iconic long-term. You go back forever and a day. Caterpillar is just a beast, and it does my heart good to see it make new highs and breaking out of this base with volume. So congrats to the longs there. There's 4 stocks from the old back in the day stocks that are doing super well. So I like to see that. Anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.